gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Dave. We've got a little driving review on the 2008 Toyota Sienna Limited, and complete with bird poop on the window. I know, just wanted to make this a unique video, and this is going to go along. I did an interior review video. Hopefully I'll remember to post it here somewhere. Check that out. I had some pretty good memes on that, so I'm proud of that. So today I just kind of wanted to do a follow-up, kind of a part 2 to that video, and just kept forgetting to film it until today, so I figured we'd get right to it. And so this is going to be all about the driving characteristics of the Sienna. I've got the little maintenance required light that comes on every 5,000 miles, and I'm going to get the oil changed tomorrow, so you know, be cool. It's only been like 5,100 miles. I'm not a bad boy, I promise. So we're gonna get it on the freeway here and kind of show you what it's like. Since it does need an oil change, I'm not gonna hammer on it too hard, but I'll give you an idea of. So this is like half throttle. It's got a good amount of push. It kind of has like, this engine to me kind of has down low torque, which is nice. Like, it'll chirp the tires pretty hard, because of course that's what you're buying a minivan to do, is like do burnouts, right? Totally. So it has that down low torque, and so it feels powerful, but I feel like it kind of runs out of steam, you know, especially up higher, the faster you go. But hey, again, this is a minivan. It's not a race car. But I think in the newer ones, they went to, I think this has a 5-speed automatic. And I think the newer ones, they went to like an 8-speed, and then later maybe even a 10-speed. I can't remember. But I think they kept pretty much the same 3.5 liter V6, which makes a lot of sense. It's a really good engine, and they run a long time. And I feel like with a better transmission, this would be a much better van, truthfully. Most of the time, like if you're driving on, say, a freeway like this where it's kind of flat, you got plenty of power. You can pass fairly easily. But like when you're going up kind of like some heavy hills, you will really feel the car kind of hunting for gears. You know, it'll kind of downshift and scream up around 4,000 or 5,000 RPM. And then it'll upshift from there, and then kind of lug, and then go back up, and then go back down, and go back up, and go back down. It's just because it doesn't quite have enough gears, or it doesn't have enough horsepower. You know, so I think they compensated for the horsepower with more gears, and that makes a lot of sense. So the newer ones are better. I mean, I haven't driven one, but I'm sure they're better. This is not a bad van by any means. It's just like, that's kind of my gripe, is that when dealing with hills, it's kind of not so fun. So that's a drag. The steering feel, it's nice and numb, the way you want your family hauler to be. I mean, it does communicate a little bit, but it's pretty. Wow, you see what that S-Class kid did? It is pretty like loaf of bread, and I'm a weird car reviewer because I like loaves of bread to be nice and soggy for my family hauler. So it's nice and easy to drive. You know, it's tight, yet you can steer with one finger. So that's cool. Got my hand here on the wood grain steering wheel made from the finest wood trees. I mean, the finest plastic trees in all of Japan. Yeah, plastic wood here, plastic wood there. There's plastic wood everywhere. It's not very nice. But it looks nice. It's just not, you can tell it's not real. So, handling characteristics. Really, for what it is, it's not bad. Like, it'll handle like a long sweeping curve. You can go as fast as you want on this, and you're not really going to feel, you're not going to feel it too bad. It's pretty, it hangs on pretty well, you know what I mean? It actually handles better than my Lexus LS, which I know is like not not some sort of feat that you want to brag about. but still, it does handle pretty well for the size of the vehicle and the weight of it. I just kind of wanted to talk about the weight of the vehicle. I don't remember how much it weighs. I'll have to post that here. But you can feel it when you're driving. Like, for the most part, it drives like a Toyota Camry, I assume. But, you know, then when you have to, like, stop or do a quick maneuver or something, you're like, oh, wow, this is a big heavy vehicle. Like, it does feel that way. So, you definitely want to, like, keep that in mind. It probably won't matter because you just need the awesome space and versatility that a minivan has. But just be aware of it, you know, especially when you have loved ones in the car. You want to be careful with how you're driving because it is heavy, it is big, and it's also a pretty long vehicle. So you kind of have to plan for all of that. It's easy to park except for the fact that, like, you kind of just need to allow for how long it is. And you kind of just give it a wide berth when you're pulling into a spot. So we talked about the acceleration. It's pretty good. I'll just punch it real quick. So that's like, yeah. I mean, you can see it's not a speed demon by any means, and it is faster when it has fresh oil. And you know, it's funny. This 3.5 liter engine is really sensitive to oil changes. Like, I notice as we get closer to the 5,000 mark, it just kind of starts to get noisier, and it feels like it has less power and everything. It still runs great, but that's just kind of the deal. Not a very sophisticated setup. The engine is not very quiet. The cabin is not very quiet. There are lots of rattles. There's lots of wind noise. You would hope that in a premium model car, you know, with a sunroof and adaptive cruise and everything, that maybe it wouldn't be so noisy on the freeway. And that maybe, like, the power outlets wouldn't be falling out of their sockets. Yeah, just little things like that. But seeing as how old the van is, I shouldn't be that critical. Miles per gallon. It's a big vehicle. So we haven't really reset this probably in like 6 or 7 tanks. So we're looking at 17.2 right now. And that's with a mix of like highway driving, city driving, sitting and idling. So, I mean, we get anywhere from like 16 to 19, sometimes low 20s, but it's a thirsty car. It just is. And that is because it's heavy. So keep that in mind as well. If you're looking to get one of these as your daily, like, you know, definitely budget for some gas because it ain't cheap, you know. I think I just filled up for $4.30 a gallon. Thankfully, it takes regular, so that's good. The Bluetooth phone stuff works pretty well. That's great. We did have to rebuild the nav unit. That was kind of a drag. It was like $400, something like that. Super easy to take the radio out, though. And I have a video on that. It's done pretty well on the channel. And my son, when he was much younger, actually helped me film it. So that one's kind of fun. And so check that out. But yeah, we've had problems with that. Also, I think the CD player in that is failing. I think it's got like a 6-disc. I don't know. We never use it. We've started to have problems with the rear DVD system. And I think it's because I put some like really dirty DVDs in there that I bought at Goodwill. So that's kind of my bad. I'm hoping to do a video on that soon where I either fix it or I remove it and have it fixed. Problems that we've had with the vehicle thus far, we've gone through 2 batteries. I mean, I kind of take the lazy way out and I call AAA, and I know that's not a good deal. So, you know, you do you. But what I like about AAA is they show up and they do it and it's done. You know, it's super convenient. And then if you have a problem, you can call them and they just show up. So that's great. Costco is a much better deal, you know, if you don't mind waiting in line. And finding a Costco when they're open and waiting in line and finding a parking spot, you know, you follow me. But yeah, but go get an interstate battery at Costco. It's like half the price of doing AAA. with AAA, you pay like 130, 140 bucks and you get a crappy battery, and then it'll fail halfway through and then they'll replace it. So that's what I did. And so that's fine. We had to replace a motor mount, control arms, CV axle, shocks and struts, which I did myself. What else? Oh, radiator? No, haven't done a radiator. I'm sure that's coming. What was it? There was something else that broke. It was like, oh yeah, the water pump. That was kind of a big deal for this one. Sorry, there's this car that won't let me in, and I don't really want to like floor it and get past this pickup truck. So yeah, but that's like all we've had to do. We had to do a set of tires, and rear brakes, had to do that. I had to get the front brakes resurfaced, and of course like some alignments, the usual used car stuff. But really, like, if you add all of that stuff up, although it's a lot of money, like the water pump was like $700, that was a drag, but everything else was pretty reasonable. I mean, I've probably got, I don't know, $3,000 or $4,000 into the van in 3 or 4 years. So not bad, averaging about $1,000 a year in repairs, which, is right on par for like what a good car should cost you. Oh, I also did the transmission service just recently, and that was, it cost a couple $100, but really improved the way the car drives. So the nice thing about owning an old Toyota is that, like, they do require some money. Once you put the money in, you kind of just enjoy the fruits of that for a while. They're good cars. They keep going. I have my gripes about this van. Obviously, like, it could be more comfortable, it could be quieter, it could be faster, it could get better mileage, but it keeps running, and it takes us everywhere, especially for like family vacations and stuff. We load so much junk into the back. It's just great. So really enjoy the space of it, and I can see why people that own these keep them for a long time, and it's just because, why would you? I mean, I just can't imagine selling this right now and going and getting a loan for $40,000 or $50,000 on a new van. Like, for what? Like, that's a terrible idea, if you ask me. So if you are looking for a minivan, get one of these, or get a, I don't know, get whatever your favorite van is, but get it used, because no one's really going to say, "Wow, nice van." Like, you're not going to be flexing by pulling up in a minivan. So spend as little as you can, and use it for as long as you can, and spend your money on, the more, spend your money on, a fun car. Because, if you have kids, you're probably going to trash your van anyway. So, and we're trying to take care of ours, but the kids are rough on it, man. It's just how it goes. So we're going to do just a little bit of city driving here and kind of show you what it's like. There's really not much to report. It drives really easily. You can see like 2-finger driving here, really chill. And the brakes, that's one thing with this car that I've been really happy about, is just how responsive the brakes are. I've looked at them. They don't look particularly big or beefy, but this van, it'll stop. Like, it's got some great brakes and good pedal feel. So I've always been impressed by that. It's probably, I think, better than my Optima, better than my Lexus. It feels more like my Corvette, honestly, than anything. So that's been really great. The adaptive cruise, which you only get on the limited model, if you're kind of on the fence between like XLE and XLE Limited, let me help you. Just get the XLE, unless you find like a really sweet Limited. I mean, I'm of the mindset that, like, if I'm going to buy a used car, I'm going to get the very nicest one, and so that's why I was like, well, I got to have the adaptive cruise. just keep in mind, it's adaptive cruise from the early 2000s. It's not the current adaptive cruise. So it's not very good. It fails often. I'm not a fan overall. Half the time I switch it over to regular cruise. So I don't know if that helps you. The other thing, it has like the power third row, which is cool, which, I mean, I hardly use it. It just doesn't matter. So those are kind of the two big things that you get on the limited package over the XLE. And in my humble opinion, it's not really worth paying a premium for. Like I said, unless you find one of these that just happens to be really nice and it's a limited and you just like it. So, go for it. Absolutely. But otherwise, don't waste your money. Just get the XLE, because you'll get the same leather seats and everything. Again, the luxury factor in this car is not as high as I would like it to be. I was kind of expecting it to feel a little bit more like a Lexus and less like a Toyota, but it feels completely like a Toyota. There are just tons of fit and finish issues, and just, I don't know, stuff that should be better than it is. One of our vents broke over there. The power outlets are coming out. They're just hanging by the wires. I'm sure it's all a pretty easy fix, but it's just kind of annoying. That shouldn't happen in the first place. Otherwise, like, sunroof has been good. Power windows have been good. Power lift gate in the back is good. Although I wish it did have a button instead of just like yanking on it. And you can see me talk about that in my interior review video. What else? Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. So even though it doesn't necessarily sound like I'm a fan of this car, I am. We got 140,000 miles on it. We bought it with 93. And, to have it be as old as it is, and to have it run as well as it does, and to take us as many places as it does, and to hold as much stuff as it does. I mean, I used this, I was building a rather large 10 by 12 shed, which looks more like a studio, but it's just a shed. And this was my primary pickup truck, right? I hauled all kinds of lumber with this thing. Lumber, concrete, 6x6 boards. Anything you would need to build a building, I put in this thing. 12-foot building material, like 12-foot 2x4s, 10-foot 2x4s, sheets of smart siding. My gosh, I put this thing through its paces big time. Like, big time. And didn't have any issue. I had it riding practically on the bump stops in the back. And, car never complained. It really did an admirable job. That being said, do not buy one of these hoping that it'll be your main pickup truck, because, that is not a good plan. Get a pickup truck if you need a pickup truck. Because that's what pickup trucks do. But for the occasional, DIY project or whatever, you really can't beat one of these. I've hauled bookcases with it, couches, a lot of stuff. So, really great vehicle, really versatile, and really good for hauling the kids around. So, I hope all this helps. Please do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, and be safe out there. I will see you in the next one.